Alright everybody, welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a little bit since my last video, but I had to wait on some parts, and I also went ahead and gapped and installed all the rings on the pistons. Did not make a video about that because no one's really going to want to watch me gap rings for a full video. It's just kind of boring. So I went ahead and did that off camera. We're getting ready to reassemble this engine, and we're going to start dropping pistons in first. I'm going to walk you through the first one, show you what all needs to happen and what you need to do, and then we'll kind of speed through the other 5 and get it done real quick. So let's get started. Alright, so what we're doing here is just, I got a little bit of oil on my hand, and I'm just putting a light coat of oil all the way around this cylinder. So that way there's some lubrication as we're dropping the piston in. And I've already cleaned all this, by the way. And once we get this all nice and oiled up, we are going to put a little bit of oil on the crank journal, and also going to throw a little bit of oil on the rod bearing. Now, I'm not too concerned because I am going to prime this engine before I start it, but I want a little bit of oil, a little film of oil on everything, because I am going to be rotating this engine around by hand as I'm putting everything back together, and I don't want any metal to metal rubbing on each other without any type of lubrication. So that's all this is for. Alright, next thing you're gonna want to do is rotate your rings around to where that none of your gaps are lined up with each other. You don't want any of your ring gaps directly over top of the other gap. So that's what I'm doing right now, is I'm just orientating the rings and rotating them around so that they're not next to each other as far as the gap goes. Also, when you're installing these, they are directional, so you'll have to remember which way they came off, mark them if they're not marked. Mine are marked. They're numbered for which cylinder they go in. They're also marked forward and backwards, so you can't really put them in a wrong way. So we're going to go ahead and get this first one dropped in. All my rings look good. Okay. We're going to go ahead and drop this down. Okay. So as I'm tapping this in, I'm going to be reaching up with my hand to guide the rod. That way it doesn't hit against the cylinders or the crank when it reaches the bottom. Okay. I'm just going to tap this down. So we are now in the cylinder. We can get rid of the ring compressor, which I would highly recommend if you're going to do this multiple times. Buy you a tapered one instead of the universal tighten, the ones you got to tighten around the piston. It just makes life a lot easier. We're just going to tap this down. Until it don't go down any further. Alright, that is all the way down. I throw a little more oil on this cap before I install it. I'm just gonna put it on through the bottom and then I'll rotate the engine around for you. I'm just gonna snug these nuts up real quick. And then we're gonna flip this over. I'll show you what it looks like from the bottom. And we're just gonna torque them down now. And then move on to the next one. All right. Go ahead and flip this over. Okay. That's installed. As you can see, I don't know if you can tell, but I got a dot on the top of this cap facing the front of the engine. And on this side, actually it's the other side, this side, they're numbered. Got a 1 here and a 1 here. So it is going to be kind of hard to get these in the wrong spot, but crazier things have happened, I guess. So just be aware that they do have to go back where they came out of in the same orientation. So we are going to now torque this down. All right, so we're going to get ready to torque this down. I gotta get a socket. The total overall foot-pounds that these need to be torqued to is 45. I'm going to go ahead and do them in 2 steps. I'm going to tighten them both down to 25, then 45. That way, when you're tightening them down, you don't just go 45 and 45 and get anything misaligned. Might not have to do it this way, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. So there's 25. 25. Now we're going to go to 45. Final torque. Okay. So, first one's in. That's all there is to it. Not that difficult. I'm going to now speed through the rest of these real quick just to get them done, get them knocked out, so we can move on to something else real quick. Alright guys, so I got all the pistons in. My camera ended up dying, so I didn't get to film all of it. I just put the rest in off camera. As you can see, pistons are all in. We're gonna get this head put on. I have it sitting over here on the table. So we're gonna throw that on real quick. Okay, so everything right now is just snugged up. Nothing's really tight. So the final torque for these head bolts is 100 foot-pounds. So I'm going to do that in 3 different increments, starting with 35, then 75, and then finishing it off at 100. So the next thing we're going to do from here is flip this over and start with getting the oil pan back on, but we got some cleaning to do, gaskets to scrape off. So I'm going to work on cleaning up this surface for the oil pan, get all this old gasket material off, and then I'll bring you back in and show you. Alright, so we got the oil pan and everything cleaned off, so we're going to get ready to throw that on. I am going to be using a little bit of this ultra gray gasket maker just to ensure we don't get any leaks. So I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. Alright guys, so next day, we almost got this engine completely put back together. Head and everything's on. Only thing really left to do is we got to drop in our lifters, push rods, rocker assembly, get everything put on the front end, water pump, stuff like that. I've already got a new seal pressed into our timing cover. So we're ready to go. There ain't much holding us back from getting this up and running. So I'm going to set you guys up on a tripod, start working away. Right, so we're getting ready to put this timing cover on real quick, and I just got some of that ultra gray gasket maker all the way around here. I'm using that because I bought like a full engine kit and did not realize, completely forgot, that I already used the gasket for this because this was leaking. So we're just gonna have to improvise and just use this gasket maker. So we got the whole front end all done, all our water pump covers and stuff. So now we're gonna go ahead and start doing the lifters and getting all that put in. All right, next thing we're doing is lifters. Just oiling these up before I drop them in. Again, this is your first time doing something like this. Lifters, just like the pistons, have to go back in the exact same hole that they came out of. Otherwise, you're gonna have some problems. Keep that in mind. Try and be as organized as possible. Just makes it easier for you to keep track of where everything goes. Just doing one at a time, oiling them up, dropping them in. Alright, so the torque spec for this rocker assembly is anywhere from 25 to 29 foot-pounds. We are set up at 27. So we're going to just torque these down to 27 foot-pounds. Technically, we didn't change any of our adjusters here. So the valve lash should be good enough for initial startup. You're supposed to lash these valves hot, and I believe, I'd have to look it back up, it might be around, somewhere around 12 thousandths lash when the motor's warm. I'm not sure about what it would be cold. I haven't found anything online about that. So I'm going to do some research and see if I can find a cold spec for these so I could lash these cold. If not, like I said, we didn't touch any of these, so nothing changed. So it should be good enough for us to start up, warm the engine up, and then re-lash all these valves when we're at that point. So we're pretty much done assembling. I don't have the push rod cover on because I've got to clean that. Same with the valve cover. Just easy stuff. Got to clean it, throw it on. You guys don't really need to see that. So, alright guys, so that's going to do it for this video. I appreciate you guys watching. Everything is back, reassembled, ready to go. The next video you see, we're going to start cleaning this engine up, degreasing it, getting it ready for paint. I am going to paint this. I will not tell you what color. I'm still kind of iffy on it, but we'll see how it comes out. It's just paint. We could always change it. I'm not too worried about it. I would also like to probably paint this engine bay. I mean, the engine's out. Might as well do it. I got a couple colors in mind. I don't really think I want to go just flat black. I kind of want the engine bay to be nice and clean, since we put all this time into it. I also got some parts ordered that I'm pretty excited about. You guys will see it. I'm not going to tell you yet. For this engine that I've been kind of putting off for a while. I've always wanted it, and I just couldn't justify the price. It was kind of pricey, but I went ahead and just bought it. It's on its way in right now. I'll show it to you guys when it gets here, but until then, that's going to be it. Like I said, you guys might not see the stuff I ordered until we get the engine back in the truck. So, give you guys something to look forward to. I'm pretty excited about it. I'm excited that we got this engine all back together. It's kind of tedious work, and it just looks the exact same as it did. So hopefully this painting video will kind of give me a little motivation to keep going and get this back in, because I want to drive this thing again. I do miss driving it, and you guys have never even heard what it sounds like, so I'm kind of wanting to get it back together so I can get it started for you guys and go take it out for a drive. So I appreciate you guys watching the video. If you liked it, subscribe, hit the bell, comment. I like seeing the comments. So that's going to be it for this video. Appreciate you guys watching.